I was halfway across the coffee shop when I saw the wheelchair and realized Jake had tricked me. She was by the window at the Cozy Cup, back against the brick wall, a thin silver bracelet catching the light as she lifted her cup. Her hair was dark, pulled into a low knot at the nape of her neck, and her dress was a deep green that made her eyes look even darker. The wheelchair sat folded beside her chair, matte black, neat and quiet. My boots stuck to the floor for a second. Jake had set me up. He never said a word about this. I should probably back up. My name is Liam. I am 25, and I swing a hammer for a living. I work as a framing carpenter on new houses outside Portland, Oregon. My days start before sunrise with black coffee in a dented thermos and end when my shoulders burn and there is sawdust in my hair. I rent a small studio above a bike shop on Southeast Division. It is one room, a tiny kitchen, a bathroom I can touch wall to wall if I stand in the middle. It is quiet. No roommates, no drama, just the sound of tires on wet pavement when it rains. I like it that way. My crew says I take everything slow. Slow to talk, slow to text, slow to date. Jake, my lead framer and the closest thing I have to a best friend, never lets it go. He says I am going to die alone with a perfect tool rack and no one to see it. He might be right. I have had a few girlfriends, nothing serious. They get tired of my quiet. Or I get tired of pretending I am someone louder. It always ends with a polite, "Stay friends." That never happens. So when Jake cornered me on site with the blind date idea, I almost said no. We were standing by the tailgate, dust floating in the air, radio playing some old Springsteen song. 1 hour, he said. Just coffee. That is it. Be a human, Liam. He promised to shut up about my love life for a month if I went. A month of peace sounded good. So I said yes. He texted me the details. Saturday, 7 p.m., the Cozy Cup on Alberta. She'll be near the window. That was it. No name, no picture. I almost backed out twice. Once when I realized I did not own anything fancier than a clean flannel. Once when I practiced my smile in the mirror and looked like I had a stomachache. But I went, because I was tired of saying no to everything, because some small part of me still believed something good could show up without warning. The Cozy Cup smelled like cinnamon and burnt sugar. The lights were warm and low, the kind that made the wood tables look older and softer than they were. I walked in 2 minutes early and spotted her right away. Green dress. Dark hair. Wheelchair. She lifted her head as if she felt me looking. "You must be Liam," she said before I even reached the table. Her voice was low and steady, not shy, not loud, just sure. "Yeah," I said, pulling out the chair across from her. "That's me, and you're..." "Clara," she said, "you made it. Jake said you would. He also said you would probably be wearing sawdust." I glanced down at my jeans. There was a faint white streak on my thigh. I brushed at it, heat rising in my face. He did not tell me everything. I said before I could stop myself, eyes flicking toward the folded wheelchair by her chair. Her gaze followed mine, then came back up to my face. One eyebrow lifted, just a little. "Let me guess," she said. "He did not mention the chair." "No," I said. I could feel my jaw tighten. He left that part out. "Then you were tricked into a date with a half-paralyzed girl," she said, matter of fact. "No tremor, no drama. You can leave if you want. I will drink my cappuccino and tell him a stranger ran off. It will be a good story." There it was, a clean exit. My heart thumped hard once in my chest. The door was 10 steps behind me. The street was wet and dark. My studio was waiting, quiet and empty, just like always. I did not move. "I am already here," I said slowly, "and I like coffee, and I have not talked to anyone who is not holding a nail gun all week." I sat down fully, put my hands flat on the table. "So I am not leaving." Her eyes softened, just a little, like I had passed some kind of test she had given a lot of people before me. "Okay then," she said. "Cappuccino with extra foam, no cinnamon." She held out her hand across the table. Half-paralyzed, full personality. I shook her hand. Her grip was warm and firm. I noticed the way her left fingers did not curl quite as tight as the right, the way her wrist stayed a little stiff. She saw me notice and did not flinch. We ordered. She wrapped both hands around her cup when it came, holding it like it was something important. I picked up my black coffee the way I always do. For a while we talked about safe things. The never-ending Portland rain. The traffic on I-84. The new brewery that sells $10 beers. Her laugh was soft and surprised when it came, like she did not give it away often. She asked about my job. I told her about the framing site in the suburbs, how we are building houses that all look the same at first. I talked about load-bearing walls and roof lines and how if you get the bones wrong, nothing else matters. She listened with her eyes, not just her ears. Precision matters, she said, even when no one ever sees the inside. I liked the way she said that. When I asked about her work, she pulled out her phone and showed me a drawing of a fox, mid-jump, splashing through watercolor snow. I illustrate kids' books, she said, from home. Mostly on the tablet now, easier with one good hand. She said it light, like it was just another detail, like saying, I like peach tea, or I hate olives. The words, half paralyzed, sat in the back of my mind next to Jake's lazy description. She's different. Interesting. Now I saw what he meant. Half an hour in, she leaned back and studied me over the rim of her cup. You can ask, you know, she said. Everyone does. Ask what? I said. Why the chair, she said simply. What happened? How much works? Whether you should feel bad for not knowing ahead of time. Whether you were tricked. The word hit like a nail struck dead center. She was not wrong. Part of me did feel tricked. Not by her, but by Jake. By the way he decided what I could handle without asking me. I looked at her, really looked. At the calm on her face, at the steady way she held my gaze. I do not need the story to finish this coffee, I said. If I ever get a second one, maybe then I will ask, but only if you want to tell it. Her lips parted just a little like she had not expected that answer. For the first time that night, her smile reached her eyes. That is a new one, she said. Outside, the rain started to drum harder against the glass. Inside, the lights were warm and the room grew quieter as people trickled out. We kept talking. She told me small pieces. Art school. A car. A moment when her life split in two. Walking and not walking. Before and after. I listened. I did not say sorry. I did not say, that must be hard. I just let her words sit on the table with our empty cups. When the barista flipped the chairs onto the tables, Clara glanced at the clock and pulled her wallet from her bag. I should go, she said. Early client call in the morning. I stood, feeling the stiffness in my knees from sitting still too long. I helped her with her coat, not because she needed me to, but because it felt like the right thing to do. At the door, I held it open. She rolled through the kind of smooth skill that told me the chair had been part of her life longer than I could guess. On the sidewalk, the rain had softened to a mist. The street lights turned the wet pavement gold. I offered to walk her to her van. She thought for a second, then nodded. At the curb, she stopped, looked up at me. Raindrops clung to her lashes. Jake did not tell you about me on purpose, she said. He thinks, if people know first, they treat me like homework. A good thing they should try to do so they can feel good about themselves. That is why I said you could leave. You think I stayed for extra credit? I asked. I do not know why you stayed, she said, yet. She pulled her keys from her pocket, then paused. Tomorrow, she said, Laurelhurst Park, 10 in the morning. I will bring my sketchbook. You bring the coffee, if you are still not running away. I felt something loosen in my chest. The studio above the bike shop, the quiet, the safe routine, all of it waited for me. So did she. I will be there, I said. She nodded once, like we had made a deal, then started to roll away. After a few feet, she stopped and looked back. Liam, she said, you do not have to stay if it is pity. With me, I mean. Ever. I did not know then how many times that sentence would ring in my head. I just knew my answer, even if I did not say it out loud yet. I was not staying out of pity. I was staying because for the first time in a long time, tomorrow did not feel empty. I woke up before my alarm the next morning. staring at the ceiling like it might have answers. The water stain above my bed looked like a crooked map. Yesterday it pointed to the bike shop and the job site. Today it pointed to Laurelhurst Park and a girl in a green dress with a folded wheelchair beside her. I tried to tell myself it was just coffee in the park, just two people, nothing big. But my stomach still felt tight in that way it does before we set a heavy beam. One wrong move, and the whole thing can tilt. I took a shower, put on a clean gray Henley and the only jeans I owned without a rip, and walked to the little market on the corner for drinks. She had mentioned iced peach tea last night. No sugar, extra ice. I had filed it away without meaning to. I grabbed 2 bottles, paid, and headed toward the park. Laurelhurst was already awake by 10. Dogs pulled on their leashes. Kids ran ahead of tired parents. The lake sat in the middle like a gray mirror. I checked my phone. 9:58. I tried not to look like a guy waiting. I failed. At 10:03, she rolled into view. Clara was in a loose blue shirt, sleeves pushed to her elbows, and olive green pants cut off just below the knee. Her hair was down this time, falling around her shoulders in soft waves. The wheelchair looked different in daylight. Sleek, compact, built to move, not just sit. "You are punctual," she said, stopping by a bench under a maple tree. "I like punctual." "You are late," I said. 3 minutes. "I almost gave your tea to a jogger." She smiled, the real kind, and held out her hand for the bottle. "You remembered," she said. "Thank you." We settled into an easy rhythm on the path that looped around the lake. She rolled at a slow, steady pace. I walked beside her, matching it without thinking. The wheels made a soft sound on the pavement, a kind of low hum. Every few minutes she stopped to take a picture. Light through leaves. A dog shaking off water. A kid's balloon caught in a branch. "Reference," she said when she saw me watching. "My brain forgets details if I do not steal them." We passed the rose garden. The bushes were just past their peak, petals starting to brown at the edges. She pulled to a stop and parked under the shade. "Sit," she said, nodding toward the bench. "I need to draw your job." "My job?" I asked. She tapped her tablet awake, pulled a slim stylus from behind her ear like a pencil. "You said you build bones people never see," she said. "Show me in words. I will try to see it with my hands." So I talked. About studs and joists. About measuring twice and cutting once. About how we frame a wall and brace it until the load spreads. About how a house can look perfect from the outside and still be wrong underneath. She listened, head tilted, stylus moving. I watched the lines appear on the screen. Not a house, not really. More like an outline of beams and cross braces, but the weight felt right somehow. "See," she said, turning the tablet toward me. "Bones." "You got the ladder wrong," I said, pointing. "I am taller than that." She laughed, rolled her eyes, made a quick adjustment. The ladder grew. My figure on it did too. We sat there for a while. The sun moved. The air warmed. A little boy wandered close, staring openly at her chair. His mom rushed over, pulling him away with a sharp, "Do not stare, honey." Clara watched them go. Her face did not change, but her grip on the stylus tightened. "You want to know the worst part?" she said. "What?" I asked. "It is not the stairs," she said. "Not the ramps or the doors or the curbs. It is the apology in people's eyes when they realize they are in my way, like I am some kind of walking lesson they did not ask for." I thought about Jake, about how he had forgotten to tell me about the chair, about the way the barista had hovered with her cup last night, about my own feet stuck to the floor when I first saw her. "I do not want to be another apology," I said. She looked at me for a long second. "Then do not be," she said. We finished the loop. "At the gate," she said. "There is a concert next Friday. On the East Bank. Outside, live music, blankets, bad tacos. Do you want to go?" The question hung there between us. I saw the picture in my head, her in the chair, me beside her. People looking. People pretending not to look. My chest tightened. "Only if I bring the tacos," I said. "Good ones." From the food carts on Mississippi. Her smile flashed quick and bright. Deal, she said. All week the idea sat in my head like a nail half-driven. At work, I missed shots I never miss. Jake noticed. You okay, man? He asked, handing me a bottle of water. Just tired, I said. From what? He said. Your busy schedule of going home and not dating. Quote. I told him about Clara. Not everything, just her name, the coffee, the park. I left out the chair. I did not want to hear whatever joke he might make before he caught himself. Friday came faster than I expected. I showered off the sawdust, put on a black t-shirt that did not have a logo on it, grabbed a blanket and a paper bag of tacos. The East Bank was already busy when I got there. String lights hung between poles. People sat on blankets in messy rows. The river ran dark beside us. Clara was near the back, where the ground was flatter. Her chair was parked on a navy quilt with tiny white stars. A small cooler sat beside her. You are early, she said when I stepped into the glow of the nearest light. So are you, I said. I like watching people set up, she said. They arrange their lives on one patch of grass. You can tell a lot from what they put down first. She opened the cooler, pulled out 2 iced teas. Peach, she said. No sugar. We sat on the blanket, side by side. The music started. 2 people with guitars and voices like warm smoke. We ate tacos. I told her about a beam that almost went in crooked this week, and how the whole crew had to scramble to fix it. She told me about her Fox story and how the publisher wanted the fox to smile more, but she thought it was more interesting when it looked a little lost. Kids know more about Lost than people think, she said. About halfway through the set, I started to notice it. The glances, the whispers. Not many, just a few. A couple behind us, a woman up front turning to look back, then nudging her friend. Their eyes went to the chair first, then to me, then away, like they had been caught. Clara felt it too. I could see it in the way her shoulders lifted and stayed that way, in the way she folded her arms across her chest. You okay? I asked quietly. I am fine, she said. Her voice was flat. The song ended. The crowd clapped. The singer talked into the mic about the next track. I did not hear him. I think I am done, she said. You want to leave? I asked. Yes, she said. Please. We packed up in silence. I folded the blanket. She closed the cooler. The music picked up again. We walked, rolled, toward the parking lot. The sound of the guitars faded behind us. At her van, she lowered the ramp and did the transfer with practiced movements. She did not look at me. Her jaw was tight. I am sorry, I said finally. If I said something, if I made it worse. You did not do anything wrong, she said. She leaned her head back against the seat. I just thought I could handle it tonight. People, stares, the whole show. Guess I was wrong. I could have said something, I said, to them. And then what? She asked. They would feel guilty for 5 minutes and go back to their lives. I would still go home with this body. I did not have an answer. The parking lot lights hummed over us. She looked at me then, really looked. Her eyes were dark and tired. You are not what I expected, she said. Is that good or bad? I asked. Yes, she said, a small, crooked smile. Both, neither. I do not know yet. She reached for the door handle, then stopped. Liam, she said. About all this. About me. You do not have to stay if it is pity. If that is all it is, you can step away now. It will hurt less. The word